So today we're going to be writing equations of lines given 2 points. Yesterday we wrote equations of lines, but we were given a slope and a point. And so today it's going to look something a little bit different, but very similar. Let's go through this first example together. After going 4 miles in a taxi, Madison notices that the bill was $15. However, when the ride was over, she had traveled 10 miles and the bill was $30. So can we write an equation for the bill, which is y, after going x miles? So we don't have a slope in here, but what we do have is 2 points. We know that after 4 miles, the cost was $15. That's 1 point. We also know that after going 10 miles, her overall cost was $30. And so we have 2 points here. And so based on what we've done in the past, we know that we can find the slope of any slope between 2 points. So we can find the slope between these 2 points. So if you remember what that is, it's y2 minus y1. So I'm going to take 30 minus 15 over x2 minus x1, which is 10 minus 4. 30 minus 15 is 15. 10 minus 4 is 6. And so if we reduce that, I can divide them both by 3, and that's 5 halves. Or we can say that's the same thing as 2.5. I'm going to go ahead and keep it as 5 halves for right now. So this is our slope. Well, now because we have a slope, we also have 2 points that this goes through. Yesterday we learned how to write an equation of a line that has a slope, or given a slope and 1 point. Now we have 2 points. And so we can pick either one of these points to write an equation of this line. And it doesn't matter which point we pick, we should get the same answer either way. So if you remember how we did that, we used the point slope formula, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's say I pick this point here. This is going to be y minus 15 equals our slope, which is 5 halves, times x minus our x value, which is 4. So I would start by distributing my 5 halves. I would have y minus 15 equals 5 halves x, but then 5 halves times negative 4, that's negative 20 over 2, which is negative 10. Then if I add 15 to both sides, I'm going to end up with y equals 5 halves x. If I add 15 plus 5. So this is my equation, and I can also write it if I change 5 halves to 2.5. 2.5, or $2.50 for each mile, plus $5 just to sit in the cab. Now suppose I pick this other point to do the same thing. I should end up with the same answer. Again, I would start with y minus y1 equals our slope times x minus x1. So we're going to have y minus the y value, which in this case is 30. That equals the slope, and I'm just going to go ahead and change it to 2.5 right away, times x minus the x value, which is 10. So I would have y minus 30. If I use the distributive property, I would have 2.5 times x, and then 2.5 times negative 10 is going to be negative 25. So then I want to get my y by itself, so I'm going to add 30 to both sides. So y would equal 2.5x plus 5. And you can see that both points gave me the same answer. And in this situation, it looks like to sit in the cab, it must cost $5. But then every mile that you go, it's $2.50. $2.50 is the slope. That tells you how it changes with every mile. And $5 is the y-intercept. That tells you how it starts. So let's practice these with some more examples here. Before we do, let's answer this question. It says, how much would a 20-mile cab ride cost? Well, then you could just stick 20 in for x. If I do that right here, I would take 2.5 times 20, which is 50, and then 50 plus 5, it would be $55 for a 20-mile cab ride. All right, so let's move on to another example of this. This one's actually a little easier because they give us the points. It says write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through these 2 points. And so this is what your homework is going to look like. We want to find the slope first that goes through those 2 points. And so we're going to take y2 minus y1, that's 5 minus 1, over x2 minus x1, which is 4 minus 2. Well, 5 minus 1 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 4 divided by 2 gives us a slope of 2. That's our slope. Then I can pick either one of these points, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pick this one just because the numbers are smaller, and I'm going to use this equation. Again, this is our point slope form. It is going to be y not equals, but y minus y1 equals our slope times x minus x1. So we're going to have, in this example, if I use this point, I did it again, y minus our y value, which is 1, that equals our slope, which is 2, times x minus our x value, which is 2. So it's going to be y minus 1 equals 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then when I add 1 to both sides, y will equal 2x minus 3. And that is an equation that goes through both points. Of course, we can check to make sure this is right. If we plug in a 2, we should get a 1. So if I plug in a 2 here, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 3 does indeed give us a 1. And if I plug in a 4, I should get a 5 back out. 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 minus 3 does indeed give me 5. So I know I have that correct. Let's move on to the next question. This answer here was wrong because it's 2x minus 3, not 2x minus 1. So let's move on to the next question. It says write an equation of a line that in slope-intercept form that passes through the following points. So if you're doing this video for the first time, you might want to pause the video right now, try this one on your own, and then start the video back up and see if you get it correct. So we're going to find the slope first. So we're going to take negative 2 minus 3 over x2 minus x1, which is 6 minus negative 4. Well, negative 2 minus 3, that's negative 5. That's negative 2 plus a negative 3. 6 minus negative 4 is the same thing as 6 plus a positive 4, which is 10. So this slope is negative 1/2. So then I'm going to go ahead and use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'll have y minus, let's say I use this point here. It's going to be y minus 3 equals the slope, which is negative 1/2, times x minus negative 4. Well, that's x plus 4. So I'm going to have y minus 3 equals, if I distribute, negative 1/2 x, and negative 1/2 times positive 4 is negative 2. So then when I add 3 to both sides, I'll have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And again, I could plug both of these numbers in to make sure I'm doing this correct. If I plug in a negative 4, negative 1/2 times negative 4 is 2, and 2 plus 1 does indeed give me 3. If I plug in a 6, negative 1/2 times 6 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So I know my correct answer is negative 1/2 x plus 1. Let's try one more. Make sure we have this before we go on to our homework. Again, you might want to pause the video, try this one on your own, and then start the video back up and make sure you get the correct answer. So first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. y2 minus y1, that's 1 minus negative 5, over x2 minus x1, which is 2 minus negative 2. Well, 1 minus negative 5 is the same thing as 1 plus a positive 5, which is 6. 2 minus negative 2 is the same thing as 2 plus 2, which is 4. So this is 3 halves. Could make it 1.5 or 1.5. I'm just going to leave it as 3 halves for right now. Then I'm going to use this equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's my point slope form. So I'm going to use this point because it looks a little bit easier to me. So it's going to be y minus 1 equals my slope, which is 3 halves, times x minus my x value, which is 2. So I'm going to use my distributive property. So I'm going to have 3 halves times x is 3 halves x. 3 halves times negative 2 is just negative 3. So that's a 3 there. So then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So then I'll have y equals 3 halves x. And negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And that is my correct answer. So on our homework assignment, we're going to be doing the same thing. So a lot of review. We have to find the slope. We have to be able to know what point slope form is, and then write our equation that goes through those 2 points. So good luck on your homework assignment. We will go over questions that you have on this tomorrow.